So this is has to go all the way back to General Quast for A-10C. Do you remember him?
Okay. Yep.
So this is a couple of A-10C commanders ago where we did the UPT 2.5, UPT next, go fast, break stuff, change everything, paradigm shift, create new structure, go fast, and we'll fix it later type of stuff. We had that big push to have the semi-simulator ITD trainers and stuff integrated into our new syllabus, and trying to use VR goggles and all these other types of things to remove flying training out of the pipeline to make it more quick, get people through training quicker. And we've tried to do this for many, many years. So that's the fundamental ask that has driven all this crap and then has been complicated by our acquisition of the T7 being delayed and not getting a good signal on how do we want to produce our students? What do you need a student to look like when he graduates a T7 training program? So those things are shaping what's been pushed to the units that are executing training. The delay is every year we go down the line, we're still 2 years away from an implementation for the T7 replacement. Let's see. We tried to get less flying training by doing ITDs, by doing those mini simulators. Turns out we have to keep the same number of flying hours in the system than were there before. Some general slapped the table and said, IFF's going away. So that became, this is the problem with the Air Force, that became, we must remove IFF from the pipeline. So now we have to call it something else. We have to call it fighter bomber fundamentals. Guess what? It's IFF.
Right.
We need to remove IFF squadrons and make the pipeline, the undergraduate specialized pipeline, go to fighter bomber fundamentals after your initial T6 thing. And they're talking about getting rid of this T6 as well. That's neither here nor there right now. But so the 560th is a pilot instructor training squadron. We are co-located at Randolph with the IFF squadron, the 435th. We are going to combine those squadrons now. In the next year, our game plan is to combine those squadrons to become the FBF squadron. All those T-38 pit instructors are going to be the transition pilots doing the same syllabuses that we are currently executing. And then the tactical portion of fighter bomber fundamentals will be the IFF syllabus with the IFF instructors. It's just changed the name because we couldn't back out of this decree that was someone slapped the table and said, you will get rid of IFF. That training still needs to happen, and it will. It's just going to be called something different. And it doesn't change how much hours it takes to make a fucking fighter pilot.
Yeah. I mean, this seems like insanity. So, Carpon, if there is someone who has, I don't know, who wants to talk about this, that's in this decision-making process, I'm more than willing to have them on the podcast because, I'm all about efficiency. I mean, who wouldn't be, right? So that's kind of a dumb statement, but yeah, all about efficiency. We can leverage technology to do things better and smarter. Why not? That seems smart, right? I mean, I go with if you could do the 3D goggles instead of a paper trainer for chair flying, I would think that's probably better.
I'm the chief of innovation for my squadron, dude. I am the guy that is posting the 360 goggle content. I'm managing the 360 goggles. I'm putting our academic missions into video form. I'm videotaping them and hanging them on something that's accessible for all of our students to get while they're at home instead of having it. So I'm trying to innovate into this next new world and be efficient with their time, present stuff the best way we can, as long as it's value added.
Yeah.
But some of the decisions that were made that are driving the policy and the implementation here were just ones that could not be backed out from. And it's caused a lot of problems. And that's my take on it. That's not necessarily.
Well, and I know it probably ties back to pools of money and funding, right? And Palm, it's like, hey, the ship sailed, it's etched in stone, and you can't undo it. So, I mean, common sense wise, you're like, just stop doing that. But
and you can't turn it around.
Interesting. Yeah, this is what just kind of reading this post. I mean, a lot of things you just hit on there. it seems, and then too, the general theme from it would be, well, guys are graduating, so obviously the product that you're delivering out of pilot training must be good enough. But I feel like that's too, is like, as pilots and probably most people in the Air Force, like you always want to do well, military in general, right? So like you're going to make it happen. You're going to do the little bit extra and pick up the slack when something, isn't going right. So you just do it on the backs of your people, but you can only do that for so long, where it's like, the machine's not really working. It's only being held together by bubble gum and duct tape because no one wants to fail, right? But at some point, like, we're not setting ourselves up for success.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if the fighter bomber fundamentals, so again, that was 2021 with General Brown to close, according to this post. I'm assuming that was a money thing or a timeline thing, but still, if you cut out 40 hours IFF, where are you going to get that?
There's probably going to be guys that are above me in the chain that are pissed off that I say this, but to me, the feeling I got from the discussions with that general you just referenced on this decision to go to fighter bomber fundamentals and get rid of IFF was a pet project, and it was because he said, slap the table, this will happen. Then there was no change in it. And I think that's the feeling that I've gotten at my level at the squadron, that's what's driving this. That's just because someone didn't want to change the mind.
Yeah. Well, this would be interesting to dig in. We could do a whole other breakout series of this alone, because again, it's changed so much, right? Yeah. And it's just popping up. It's like NGAD, right? We're doing NGAD. Yeah. We got to pause it. Yeah, we're back on. Knock it off. We don't know where. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Hey, since we're on a big blue bashing.
Yeah. Always welcome.
I mean, so have you heard that we've gone to? Our big bosses are saying we've got to become resilient for, like our networks going down or power outages, or that's like a top level emphasis item right now. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. We have been foisted with this electronic ORM requirement. You must log in to a network system to accomplish your ORM for every flight.
Or operational risk management. It's a sheet to score your safety or, the threats, to make an assessment. And
we used to use a piece of paper, and if somebody wanted to come gather the data on our ORM levels for our ops, they would come grab our pieces of paper and gawk from there. But now they want to send everything to a central computer system, and we are now less resilient, less able to operate to close the loop on that requirement, because we have to have one more network app running, operating. All the users have to have a profile that's working. We just keep killing ourselves with little paper cuts. So this one, I got a real problem with. I have been a very vocal opponent to this thing from the beginning. As an ops supervisor for the unit, this is the biggest detriment to the awareness of the operations supervisor that I've ever seen. I've been doing this for a long time. This is I now know less about whose ORM is for what reason because of that interface than I've ever had on a piece of paper before. Piece of paper is easy. 2-second cross check. I know exactly what's going on. This thing, I got to log in. I got to go through multiple pages. I got to refresh. I got to ask the guys, hey, did you get it done? No? Okay. Well, now do a paper one. Tell me what's up. It's just a disaster, dumpster fire.
You do remember that the first chief technology officer of the Air Force quit like after 60 days. I don't know if it's 60. It was he didn't make it to the year point, I don't think, because he was just like, you guys, it's so bad. And now I see it in my civilian job. Like, the technology exists and the capability exists to get all the information, do what you need in efficient systems and processes. Like, if you were going to have to lean 100% on technology, like you could do it.
But there's no reason for us to do it here.
But also the way the Air Force implements it and executes it, it's cumbersome. It doesn't work. It's logged and locked down. And it's like, that system might work great and be super easy and pop up on your phone. And you're like, yeah, boom, I can see the highlights. But no, they've crushed the permissions. They've locked it down. And you got to go through the Air Force Wi-Fi to make it happen.
yeah, there's your other set of problems. So apologies to my bosses.
They need to hear it.
That up.
They're either going to hear it here or they're going to hear it in the memes. The memes, I mean, that's the thing that I love about social media. It really is just open up a whole new interface of sport pitching that, if you're a boss and you don't see the meme pages, like it's a lot of truth there.
Well, Rain, after this thing pops out, maybe you got a phone number of that truck driving school.
It's like,
I think it is.
It was all over. Do we want to talk about inspections yet? No. Okay. All right. It's like, what is going on around this place?